Hello everyone, so this is a small video to show you how to hack the game. Basically, you will be able to modify characters as you wish. You will be able also to share the characters. Let me mute the audio of the game for a moment. So first of all, you need to go to any match settings here. So basically you need to go to the match scene. In my case, I will go to practice dummy because I don't have any joysticks. So I will control everything with the keyboard. Now you select your favorite stage, could be anything. Let's say data center. Now with your first player, you need to select the character you want to modify. In this case, I will modify 0, so let's select 0. The second player could be anything, so let's select random. And now when we are in the fighting scene and the fight starts, you can now press F1 in your keyboard and you will be able to access the character editor. If you press F1 again, you will be able to try out the game again with all your modifications already there. If you press F5, you will be able to turn on the hitboxes, and F6 the hitboxes of the ground. In this case, I don't have any background. Now I have one. Any platforms? Now I have platforms, and I see all the hitboxes there. Next step would be to show you how this editor works. At the top left, you have a state combo box, so you can select any state of the character. The attack states start with attack, with a few exceptions like charge attack or dash attack. But yeah, if you go to attack, you will see most of the attacks here. Attack heavy 0 is the attack that it's triggered when you press the heavy attack and without any directions. So as you see now, when I have the attack heavy state loaded, I can scroll through all the frames of the state. So each one of these frames is called a frame definition, and a frame definition defines a bunch of things about the character and that at that specific frame. So each frame definition has the definition of the attack if you have a strike box, the pose of the character, the velocity, the visual effects that are triggered, the sound effects, etc. And you can modify everything as you wish. Let me show you a little bit how the pose works. So each frame here has a specific pose of a specific animation. In this case, I'm using the same animation, which is called attack forward blade 1. As you see here, you can select any animation. So let's say I want to add something, or I want to modify this first frame of the animation. We can jump to any other animation. Let's say attack spawn, and we can scroll through all the frames here. And what I'm doing here is I'm just changing the pose of this first frame. So let's say this will be the first frame of the attack. Now the pose of the first frame of the attack, and if I go to 1, you will see that it interpolates, so it's smoothly transition to the next one. So if I add new frame definitions here, if I press plus, it will duplicate the previous one and it will increase by 1 the pose in the animation. So let's do that for a few frames so we can see that part of the animation, and then we can continue. So now if I press F1 and go back and press heavy attack, I can see that my attack now has a few frames before the attack is done and moves around. We can fix the offset here by changing the model position offset. In this case, all the variables that has two numbers here means x and the second one is y. So I can move, for example, minus 15 or something, minus 13, 35. Let's say that one, and I can do the same with the next one and with the next one. And this one we can, I guess we can remove it. So right now the start animation start like that. So that's how can you add or remove poses. The cool thing is that you can mix any pose of any animation with any other one. So here you can have a full mix of anything here going through the state. The game right now has an optimization, so it doesn't load any pose that this character is not set currently to use. That way the game can load much faster. But if you want to get full access to all the animations of all the characters in all the characters, you can click here, load extra animations and reload. And this will load all the animations available for all the characters. So that way, for example, we can make Zero to behave like Slice, for example, and we can put any animation there. So let's press F1 again. Let's say we are in heavy attack, heavy 0, and then right now we have much more animations, as you see here. So previously we had only one page or something. Now we have like, I don't know, 5 pages or 7. So right now, for example, I can use animation of the heavy weapon, which are the animations that Slice uses. So let's say we are doing heavy weapon 0, or let's do that. So as you see now, the character has a different pose. So we can use this attack, for example, to make a new attack, these animations here, or these poses. There's also a rotation offset apart from the model position. So if you want to rotate the character in the vertical axis, you can do it here. So, and this also will be applied as an interpolation. So as you see right now, we are using attack compo heavy weapon, frame number 23. Then we go to another frame from another animation, and then we go to another frame of another animation. And you can do that for any character. So that's the heavy attack right now. Looks a bit weird, but it works. If you want to modify the hitboxes of every frame, that's also possible here. So let's say we are in frame 5, which is the first frame that has a hurt box, which is a hitbox that makes damage. We can do that easily. So here we have all the type of hitboxes. Right now, there are a few deprecated ones. So you just need to ignore all the throw boxes and the physic box. So basically you just have 3 modifiable boxes. The hurt box, which is the green one, which is the one that when it's intersected with an opponent red one, you will get hit. The strike box, which is the red box here that makes the damage, and the proximity box, which is this big yellow one. The proximity box, what it does is when it intersects an opponent, the opponent knows that when he holds back, he needs to block instead of moving backwards. So basically it's like you are telling the opponent that he needs to block when he holds back. As you see, after the last strike box here. We don't need the proximity box anymore, so that must be removed. Currently, this is not automatic, so you need to do it manually. So every attack or every state that has some strike box in between needs to start with all frames with proximity boxes until the last one there. Otherwise, your attack won't be able to be blocked. So if you don't draw this thing, their opponent won't be able to block your attack. In order to modify the hitboxes, you need to use mainly shortcuts. Otherwise, you will take a long time to do them. I recommend you to hold your 3 middle fingers in these 3 keys, H, J, and K. So that way you will be able to use all the shortcuts really fast. And your right hand, you can hold it in the arrows. That way, for example, if you see here, you have all the shortcuts. So if you hold the right control and the horizontal arrow, you will be able to change between frames. If you hold H and insert, you will add a new hitbox of the same time you have one selected before. If you hold J and the arrows, you will be able to move around the hitbox. If you hold K and the arrows, you will be able to change the size of the hitbox. That way, it's really easy to add new hitboxes, and you can make the stage really fast. Let's say we're in frame 6. So usually one frame is very similar to the previous one or to the next one. So there's also a shortcut, so you can copy or grab all the hitboxes from a previous frame and put it, then replace all the hitboxes with the previous one. So in order to do that, you can press H and B. Here's the shortcut, replace all hitboxes from previous frame. And now we have frame 5 and 6 the same. The only change here is that this frame 5 spawns a visual effect and the second no, not. Later we will see what's going on there. So let's say I now modify this attack, and now this attack doesn't have these hitboxes. How did I delete them? I just press H and delete. So let me insert a few. I hold H and delete. I delete them. If I press H and the up arrow, you will be able to change between hitbox types. You can do that also here. So let's say I'm in frame number 6 and I want to copy only the hurt boxes or only the strike boxes from the previous one. So you can also do that pressing H and V, the V here, not the big V, but low V. I don't know how to name it. So that will replace the hitboxes, but only the type you have selected right now. So, or let's do the opposite. Let's copy these 3 into this one. So we are in 5, and you need to grab the next ones. So it would be H plus M. And that way I just copied these 3 into here. Now let's say we want to modify the visual effects. Visual effects are all these slashes here that appears from time to time. Let's say in frame number 6 we want to spawn something here. So let's say we will do electric muzzle, which is the one that Slice uses. So we can scale, for example, let's say 20 in the X. axis, 20 in the Y axis. You can rotate it 90 degrees, so now it's looking upwards. We can position, let's say 10 and 30, no, too much. 10, okay, 15. You can also modify the depth position, which is the C1. In this case, doesn't matter because it doesn't intersect with the character. But let's say it's in 0. So right now it's behind the character. So if you want to put it forward, I guess you can press 10. We'll move it forward. And minus, I don't know, 0, -1 will move it backwards, as you see. So let's leave it at 5 or 10. Okay. Velocity doesn't do nothing, so ignore that thing. Follow character means that if the character is moving, it will move relative to the character. So as you see, the character is move forwards, and the explosion also move forwards with the character at the same time. So let's say it doesn't follow the character, then you will see that the explosion keeps behind the character. That's the follow character, and you can also flip that thing. This case doesn't look very different, but others looks much different, especially this type of slashes. So as you see now, we have the attack now spawning this explosion there. We can also play sound effects. Here we have the whole list of all the sound effects of the whole game. So we can use, I don't know, let's do something weird. Let's do a toasty here. So let me unmute the game. If I press, you will see that now spawns a toasty sound effect in that specific frame. This doesn't work, so just ignore that. I will fix it at some point, but right now doesn't work. I don't recommend you to mess around with these variables also. Every time you have at least one strike box in the frame, this thing appears, which has a lot of options regarding how this frame behaves when it connects with the opponent. So as we see now, we have a hit type, air spin up. This hit type defines the animation of the opponent when it hits. So let's say it's a mid. Let's see air spin up first. So as you see, I attack, and now the opponent start spinning. If I put it into mid, it will do a mid animation. And as you see, now the character doesn't dies because the mid animation doesn't trigger dying when you touch the floor. But overhead, for example, it's another type. So right now the character moves like it's hitting the head, and also doesn't die. Uppercut, I think, triggers the die animation. Yeah. So as you see, the animation is different, and when it hits the floor, it dies. And the other is air spin up and down. Right now, up and down are exactly the same, so it doesn't matter which one you used. But that's it. These are the damage points. We can set it to 1, for example, and this will do 1 damage at the top. See at the top, now it does 1 damage. You can do whatever you want there. Freeze duration is the hit stop, which is called. So you can, if you do like a critical super ultra movement that needs to be freeze a lot of time, you can put any number here. For example, 16, which is a lot. So now both characters are freezed in the hit for 16 frames. Logic frames, not 16 visual frames, which are different for this game. Priority is the priority of the attack. So if two attacks collide together, the one with higher priority defeats the other one. Knockback duration, this is important. This is the number of frames the opponent will be knocked back after you hit it. So right now is 12. Let's move it to mid and set this to 24, for example. When I do that, now the character moves a lot more. So usually ground attacks doesn't move the character up, but in this case this is kind of a launcher or something like that, so it has a vertical knockback too. So let's put some ridiculous number here, 120. Then you will throw the opponent very far away. That's in the X axis. And let's say it's 10, and we send it upwards a lot, like 200. And now the opponent is set to the ceiling. If we use a spin up and put something like 9 here, you will see that the opponent now dies automatically. These are the sound effects. So for the blocking, I always had block default. And this is the sound effect that triggers when you hit successfully your opponent. The first strike box we have here is in frame 5. So if we press the attack and the character is just in front of us, this frame is the one that will hit. But you can also have more attacks afterwards. So if this one doesn't connect and the character was just jumping and just came to intersect in this frame, these characteristics are the one that will happen. So what you can do, for example, is hit again. That means this strike box will hit, and if this one is checked, this will also hit as a new hit. So let's try out that now. So as you see now, we have 2 hits with one single attack. Yeah, let me remove this. Let's say we want to make an auto combo here. So when you hit heavy, you can go straight to another state. You can click here. Let's say in the first one, we can combo. And here you set the next state you want to combo to. So let's say we want to go to uppercut. Let's say attack uppercut light. So we look for attack uppercut light here. Or heavy. Let's go to heavy. That way we can combo from heavy to another one. So now if I press multiple times the attack button, it will automatically combo into the specific attack. I didn't press enough. There it is. So that's how do you do auto combos. And that's it. Feel free to do whatever you want with this. Have a Discord channel where you can share all your modified characters. Oh, I forgot to mention how can you share these characters. So if you click here, where it say open movement directory, you will click and you will be able to see this folder here. So if you go to dev files 0, you will see that 0 has all the state definitions here, which are these states, and these states are linked to any animation, which are these animations here. So if you share this folder with another person and this person replace his 0 folder with yours, then that person will be able to play with your character. and that's how you can share. So yeah, thank you so much and happy hacking. See you then.